How big is this elevator? Let's walk to the other side of this elevator.
Whoa.
Right?
You mean just turn around?
Just turn around.
That's it.
Could we get
It says
like
4 people, but I think 2 of them must be children.
I'd really like to live beside you, baby. I love your body, your spirit, and your clothes. But you see that line that's moving through the station. I told you, I told you, I told you I was one of those.
Yes, the elevator at the Elazar Hotel in Hamburg may be small, but not so small that you have to camp out in your Airstream trailer at the Hoppenhof. And then you realize it's a coffee shop. Hamburg is a city of churches and museums. Let's see what they have to offer.
You think we should go to this museum?
I don't know, Doug. I don't know.
The Museum of Arts and Crafts, or as they say in German, Kunst und Gewerbe, had an exhibition featuring the development of the organ. Who could resist? Cespeus first invented the pressure pump in ancient Greece. His wife Thais was reportedly the world's first organist. Later, the instrument was used at gladiator fights in Rome and at horse races. In the 6th century, it became a church instrument, as clerics were the only ones who could figure out how to build one. As the instrument migrated north, Hamburg became a very important center in the development of the instrument. Hamburg was also very important in the development of the piano, if for no other reason than the Steinweg family emigrated from there to America, where they became the Steinways. You can see how they always favored the ornate designs on their instruments. Mary favored the uprights for reasons of space. She thought the artwork was a nice touch on some of the earlier forte pianos, even if a bit ostentatious. Although she is thinking of having her portrait done on the reflector board of our Steinway. The other instrument families were represented as well: an alphorn, some clarinets, some oboes, and the most German of instruments, the flugelhorn. There was some gold statuary, ornate designs from the 10th century, mosaics from the 9th century, and pottery with writing as designs from the 9th century. And as a bonus, a tourist with a camera from the 21st century. Time to head downstairs to the next level. The next floor down featured Dutch street art and posters. We had just been in Amsterdam and we could really spot that Dutch influence. Or was that just our mastery of the Dutch tongue? It also featured German film posters and a painting appropriately called The Four Beauties. You might think that the clay display was just for the kids, and there were lots of them making stuff, and they got to put it on the Wall of Fame. But they also had pottery from the 6th century in Cyprus. But we were more interested in the social design exhibit. The international refugee crisis and Germany's response to it gave opportunity for a social experiment. People who'd come here with nothing to a society that had an abundance. So every Thursday in the St. Pauli neighborhood, they gather at the Fab Lab and make things from things that people had thrown out. And it looks like Mary's ready to try her hand at that. And look what she's made. One more selfie, and then it was time to see what Mary thought of the museum.
So how was that museum, Mary?
It was great. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Very glad we
Well, Hamburg is a city of museums and churches, so it was time to see St. Michael's Church. They were getting ready for their harvest celebration, so they had food and bread everywhere and molded into every shape you could imagine. The stone carving on their pulpit was amazing. We didn't have a chance to hear the organ before we headed to their high-speed elevator. The views were fabulous when we got up to the top, and the buildings were certainly shipshape. Then it was the high-speed elevator down, and a quick trip down the stairs. So that St. Mary could have one more contemplative moment. Because then we were off to the other side of the moral compass in Hamburg, the Reaper Bomb. The Reaper Bomb has an awful lot of adult entertainment sites. They seem to come to life at night. In the daytime, it attracts a lot of sexy devils checking out some of their more adventuresome retail establishments. Oh, and the Beatles got their start, and they don't let you forget it. There's a very imaginative metal sculpture outside. Paul, John, then George and Ringo as a package. Stu Sutcliffe gets a place over on the corner by himself. As Mary perused the menu at Max & Consortum, or as the English would say, Max & Co., we were joined by two charming German engineers. Then the next morning it was up and at 'em and off to St. Peter's Church. And another high-speed elevator. What fun.
Are you holding that button permanently, Mary?
I am.
What happens if you let go of the button? Let's see. It stops. Oh no, we're trapped.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Nobody wants to be trapped when there's views like this to be seen. The Hamburg Harbor is huge. The radio tower is quite the view, as are the three spires. And then you spot her.
So you think you'll take the emergency exit?
She may not have taken the emergency exit, but after seeing the Philharmonie building of Hamburg, she decided she'd visit.
I believe the tour bus has come in.
The mirrored panels offer plenty of opportunities to take interesting selfies. And if you have a real camera, you can do quite the fabulous job. There are great views of Hamburg's famous river warehouse district. And of course, the three spires. But we don't recommend jumping down into the water below. Being a major European port city, there are, of course, plenty of river options for getting around. Some of these people decided to take one of the local tours, but we were more intent on visiting the Dungeon Museum. And then we got lost.
I don't know where we are. I want to get over there to the other side. I don't know.
Well, there's a tunnel.
No way, a tunnel?
Yeah, but I don't know where.
Who'd have thought of putting a tunnel in?
And a ferry. Should we take it?
I hate to disturb your slumbers there. Hamburg's a busy port. Are you taking advantage of any of the local harbor cruises?
Just the free ferry ones.
And where does this ferry go to?
We don't know. A surprise.
And did we know it was free when we hopped on?
We did. Like it was part of the bus system.
Yeah,
We're allowed to ride that,
so they say.
They also say that Hamburg has beaches, and I guess they do, and this person looks like they might brave the elements. The graffiti artists braved the police when they put this up. Or is this art? Once back on terra firma, we found a bar, but we didn't find the tunnel. Not yet. Where are they going now? In fact, they were heading down into the Elbe Tunnel, opened in 1911 as a car and pedestrian tunnel to connect the two sides of the Elbe River. It's a technological marvel of that age. Mary wanted to go explore it while I took a few photos of the wall. Up to the surface in the car elevator, and we were ready for the next part of the adventure. Or were we? It was all a bit too much for Mary, so she sent me out that night on my own to get pictures of Hamburg's Rathaus. The original Hamburg Rathaus was destroyed by a fire in 1844. It took 42 years to rebuild the new structure that you see in front of you. I experimented a bit with night photography because I knew I'd have to be using those skills in the next section of the movie. But I'm getting ahead of myself. No visit to Hamburg is complete without visiting the spire of St. Nikolai Church. Completely bombed out during the Second World War, the spire was left standing as a target for the Allied bombing crews. Now it is a museum dedicated to what went wrong, how they were fed propaganda and believed it. The courtyard had sculptures that gave that voice to art. The views, well, they were spectacular, and they were brought to you by St. Nikolai Church. Is a fabulous, fabulous place to visit to remind ourselves. And then you get hungry and you head to the restaurant, where you become part of a family reunion in that German beer hall tradition. And of course, have a hamburger.